What's up, you lazy entitled basement-dwelling millennials, bootstrapping boomers, apathetic Xers, and goddamn Gen Z kids today? We've got a guy with a big bike and a big flag here to join us. And at first glance, he's very mega passing, but he's the furthest thing from it. We got Gunny Speaks Out. If you haven't seen his shit, which you probably have by now, you should definitely go find it because it is absolutely great. He runs around on his Harley with this great big fuck Trump flag and just goes and makes fascists uncomfortable, and it's absolutely beautiful. So, Gunny, thank you, welcome, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Um, Tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your history? What's your background?
Grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, pretty much a Democratic family, coming up through. After I got out of high school, I joined the Marine Corps in 1990. Spent 14 years in the Marine Corps, a Gulf War vet, Somalia, 2 tours in Iraq. Uh, Got out, moved to North Carolina, spent about 10 years back there, moved back home to Louisville in 13. Met my beautiful wife, Mrs. Gunny, in 19, and now I'm living in Evansville, Indiana. Uh, my wife's very progressive, liberal, and I really wasn't like, doing a whole lot with politics, but I had been following it. And keep in mind, I'm a former like Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck conservative from way back in the day, right when I got out of the Marine Corps. And then eventually, I kind of started seeing the light not too long after that. And then more so when I got with my wife. But that's kind of summary of, kind of like what got me to where I'm at today and doing what I'm doing.
So, first of all, your time in the military, you were overseas and everything, and do you mind sharing with us what you were doing over there? Did you see combat? What
Yeah. So the Gulf War, we saw a little bit over there with the unit I was in. Nothing like too crazy. Somalia, that was pre Black Hawk Down. We went over there for it was Operation Restore Hope. And I actually got interviewed by Dan Rather on the top of the Mogadishu airport. I posted that not that long ago, but that was right when we had gotten ashore. So there was some good activity even prior to Black Hawk Down going over there, uh, taking sniper fire and stuff at the embassy and whatnot. But then Iraq, '03 and '04, obviously a lot going on there, where I saw the majority of my combat time. But yeah, and it was an interesting time to say the least, but I'm
hmm
glad I know now that the pretenses that we went under and what I know now are two totally different things because, for the war on terrorism and yeah, and what WMDs, and we really know what it's
hmm
all about. So yeah.
So, having been through that and experienced it and given so much of your life in service of our country, and the the traumatic experiences that you've been through, how does it feel having kind of come to that realization that so much of that was not what it was made out to be, and you were over there putting your life on the line for what essentially ended up being a lie? Like, how has that affected your views and beliefs to get you to where you are now?
Yeah.
And were you
So
happy about Dick Cheney's recent passing?
let's see. I wasn't sad. I'll just tell you. Because he was like, he was
No
one of the
tears were
main.
shed.
Well, yeah, exactly. He was one of the main reasons why we ended up over there. When everything had kicked off. So yeah, definitely no love lost. Uh, so I
The,
look
the
back.
Kleenex box didn't get used that particular
It's
day.
still full. uh, Looking back, I'm just thinking, man, like, and I was, a good bit younger too. I wish I had been more in tune with the internal like workings of the government and things like that. But like a lot of people, being willfully ignorant or just really just not even paying attention, I probably would have
hmm
changed my whole mindset on even going over there in '03 and '04 had I known what I know now. And all I can say is for active duty members now that one of the things that I recommend is that like, hey, get to know the real reasons why that you are doing those things and take a really hard look and
hmm
say, is this what I signed up for? Because I will tell you, had I known I was going over to Iraq for oil, I probably wouldn't have went.
you don't feel like risking your life so some billionaires can get a little bit cheaper oil.
No, not at all.
Well, I mean, to be fair, for the time, for your sake, there was only one, I think, representative in the House that voted against going to invading Iraq. So, you
Yeah,
know, there wasn't a whole lot
Yeah.
of
sure.
counterpoints at
Hmm.
that time. So I
Sure.
don't think you probably could have found. I mean, I'm sure there was probably some people out there saying, but you probably would have had to look in some pretty progressive spaces to
Yeah.
find
No.
some anti-war sentiment at that time.
Right. And
Well,
the
and
thing
they.
with Al Qaeda was just so prominent at the time, and
Hmm.
being young and who I was, and I was just like, yes, we're going to go fight, Al Qaeda, and we're going to, protect the America. So I was 10 toes down on that at the time. So yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was still at that time we were very, hoorah, boot in your ass, God bless the USA,
Yeah.
America sentiment, after 9/11.
Yeah.
And the internet wasn't what it is today either. Like it
Mm-mm.
wasn't as easy to find people with differing opinions. It wasn't as easy to have that community and support that you can find on the internet now. It wasn't as easy to find differing information than what kind of the mainstream narrative was being fed to us.
Sure.
And it was a different. I mean, our government's always lied to us, but this was a new era of lying to the American people in a different fashion. I feel like kind of more of the modern tribalism of lying and building that around. You're either with us or you're unpatriotic and that kind of thing. And so I don't blame you for it at all.
Yeah.
It's got to be rough to go through all of that and then realize that you risked your life that much and you gave that much of your life to something that ended up being bullshit in the end.
Right. Yep. 100%. And then to get back home, and then to not like have a real effective transition, from the military, because they just you're in and then you're out.
Hmm.
And I think maybe that's improved somewhat. I'm not 100% sure. And my wife always laughs when I tell this story. Man, I left Iraq and went home, or went to North Carolina, and you know what my first job was getting out of the Marine Corps?
Hmm.
Server at Applebee's.
That sounds
Yeah,
about right. Yeah.
yeah.
I was
Hmm.
going to say
And I
grocery
was like,
bagger, maybe, but yeah.
yeah. And so I'm just sitting there going, less than a year ago, I was leading convoys, rolling up all the way to Tikrit into Baghdad, and now I'm getting shitty tips at a restaurant. So,
Yeah. No, it is one of the many highlights of how much we fail our service members in that transition because they always tell you, I remember when I was in high school and they're like, "Oh, we're going to teach you a skill you'll be able to use for the rest of your life. It's going to be better than college," that kind of shit. And then
yeah,
I didn't join. But like you see so many people come out after that, and it's like, I was in charge of $100 million equipment, and now like they won't even trust me with the cash register at a grocery store, that sort of thing.
right.
And
Yeah, and by trade, I was a parachute rigger. Now, you just
mhm.
take away from what the military trained me to do in terms of like possibly a job. There wasn't a high demand for parachute riggers in the civilian world. However, I did work at a skydive center for
I
about
was gonna
3 months.
I was gonna say there you go.
Yeah,
You could go do skydiving stuff.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah, I don't think there's too many industries that call for somebody who knows how to like call in artillery strikes. I don't think
yeah,
my skill set would have been very useful in the
yeah.
civilian world.
Right.
yeah. So it's interesting because you said, you were like a Rush Limbaugh conservative, and we've had quite a few vets that we've gotten to talk to who have kind of gone through that process. It's very interesting how conservative forward just the military tends to be in culture, especially with just the media that they have on. I mean, some people are working on a change the channel campaign, just try to get all of the spaces that military members exist in to change from Fox News simply because that's what you're kind of overwhelmed with. So
Mhm.
it's not surprising to me that you were in that boat, but how did you get out of it? Because I think that's the thing that many people struggle with, especially when that becomes kind of part of your identity, is I'm a bootstrapping conservative, fuck the woke libbies and all that shit, to being a person with, empathy and a small amount of critical thinking skills and realizing like how bullshit all of that is and that we should be very loudly, in your case with Harley with straight pipes and a giant flag, but like very loudly standing up for our fellow citizens, our fellow neighbors. Um,
Yeah.
how
So,
did you make that transition?
well, I will tell you. So, like, it takes a lot of energy to do what we do here to fight what we're fighting
Hmm.
against now. But I will tell you, it takes more energy to be like, and I wasn't MAGA or anything like that, but
Hmm.
I guess it would have been like pre-MAGA or whatever. But the amount
Tea
of
Party era.
energy, yeah, the amount of like negative energy that it produces in you to be so hateful to everybody around you that doesn't like subscribe to what you subscribe to, it gets so it's awful. And I just finally
Hmm.
just said, you know what, I don't know why I just can't do this anymore because it's just consuming so much of me. And I was working a really busy job. I ended up working my way being a territory manager where I covered 3 states and selling industrial equipment, and just try to maintain just to focus on that, my family, and all that, and then try to be this hateful, shitty person. It just didn't coincide. So I distanced myself from all of that, and then it just started kind of, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to read some books, and I think I'm going to tune into something. Yeah, go to and I think I'm going to do something else besides try to hate people. And that lasted for like a good long time. And then I met my
Hmm.
wife in 19, and then that's when my eyes started really opening, and I'm like, holy shit, I've been such a shitty person for a long time. And I said, man, I feel so much better like not being that person. And that was just kind of the shift. Is just I just distance myself from it, and then I started
Hmm.
educating and critical thinking. I'm like, looking back, I'm like, holy crap, I cannot believe this is the person who I was. And if I could tell you how I started my platform,
Yeah.
'cause I love telling this story. I had been watching live debates and stuff with Adam Cray and Jolly and Dean and Parker and all those
Hmm.
guys several months before, probably the beginning of the year before the election. And I had just done a clapback. Somebody had put a post and a comment in a post, and it said, and I had my Harris Wall sign in my front yard, and you can see the video. It's pinned,
Hmm.
and he said, make sure you keep your Harris Wall signs in your front yard, so when the Civil War starts, we know where to come. So I did a reply with the video, and I put my vest on, my riding vest on, and I walked out there, and I picked my Harris Wall sign. I go, here you go, big dog. And I put it like right out by the street, so it was clear. And and
Hmm.
all I said, it's 16 seconds long, and all I said was, um, Gulf War vet, Somalia, 2 tours in Iraq. I'm ready. That's all I said. And it got like it went viral. It got 2.4 million views. And my wife's like, you know what? I think you can be doing something better on your platform than like singing karaoke, riding your Harley. Because that's what I was doing, and workout videos. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think you're right. So I had started doing TikTok live shortly after that. And that's slow going, whatever.
Hmm.
But I'm telling you, that first video, so that's how Gunny Speaks Out got started.
Hmm.
But then I was doing a Public Enemy song for there was a political related writing karaoke video, and that's when the MAGA guy in the black truck pulled up next to me. That's what launched Gunny in the Wild, because he pulled
Hmm.
up next to me in that, and he's like, "Get that fucking shit out of here! Why don't you grow some?" And I'm like, "My flag! Why don't you grow?" I mean, you just have to watch it. So that's what
Hmm.
launched Gunny in the Wild. So my stuff, I blew up from like 2,000 followers on Instagram to like over 200, almost 300,000,
That's
like
insane.
within a week. And then my Facebook started, blowing up. So that's what launched Gunny in the Wild and what you normally see now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, that's truly incredible. I think my favorite part of this entire story from front to back, though, is the fact that's like we could condense your whole story to like what turned you into from being a conservative to being a progressive, and you're just like, I read a book like
Yeah.
that.
Yes. Yep. And you see, I have
It's
a whole library downstairs that so I take a lot of my book reviews from Christopher Goldsmith, and that's what I usually buy. But one of the first books I had gotten was On Tyranny by Timothy Snyder, and as we
hmm.
know, the authoritarian fascist, things that are happening right now. Well, he talked about that. He predicted that like 5 years ago in that book.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so I'm looking at this, I'm like, holy shit balls. And then I bought, Autocracy Inc. and a bunch of that stuff. But books, I'm telling you, people, please pick up a book and read if you want to know something. And I did a TikTok the other day, and I was doing a clap back, and I said, I said, the library is not lava. Get your ass to the library.
And it's even free. Like,
Yes, I know. Get a library card. That's the one thing Christopher Goldsmith talks about is you want to
hmm
keep the information flow going. Go get a library card at your local library. That's one of
hmm
the biggest things you can do. It's so simple.
Isn't it insane to think too, like the concept of libraries? If we didn't have libraries and we tried to make libraries a thing right now today, can you
Yep.
imagine the fucking shitstorm that Republicans would have about
Yep.
like a building with books
Yep.
in it and they're
Yep.
just free? Like anybody can get a book, like even the poor people can go read a book for free. Like what fucking radical communist leftist Marxist bullshit is that? Like,
I know. There's a book that just came out. I think it's called like Why the Right Hates Teachers, things like that. And it's
hmm
at Barnes and Noble. And I was wanting to pick it up, but yeah, it's crazy, And one of the 14 tenets of fascism is putting down education and institutions and stuff like that.
hmm
So I mean, I think he's probably at 14 of 14 on all of the tenets of fascism and everything he does in terms of
Oh,
suppressing the media, free
hmm
speech, institutions of learning, higher education, and all that kind of stuff.
No, the tenets of fascism, like the seven deadly sins, he's up there collecting like their Pokemon cards. He's got to
Yeah,
catch them all, and he's doing a
yeah,
really good fucking job.
yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's a
Uh,
Pokemon master at this point. That's for sure.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh man. So, how'd you get hooked up with Jolly and everybody? Because for everybody out there, I was fortunate enough I got to meet Gunny before he took off from DC. We got to spend a couple days together. Um, as genuine and in person as he seems here online with his persona and everything, and I absolutely loved hanging out with you there. How did
Yeah.
you end up getting involved, getting out here to do this kind of stuff?
I Laney, who is Defenestrans, Matt, USMC Angry Veteran, all those guys that are out there had all at one point been in my life, or I've been in their lives, and we had kind of collabed on some things. Like Laney, like one of the big things in my lives, what because I'd ask I'd bring Trumpers up and I'd say, "Why did you vote for Trump?" And one of the biggest things is, I didn't want men in women's bathrooms. So
hmm
I don't talk about unless I have somebody from that community on my live. I don't talk about. So Lainey
hmm
I would always send her the bat signal, and she'd always come in my life. So I knew her. Jolly had popped in my live before, Matt as well. So we'd really known each other just through lives, and not even to
hmm
like any great extreme. And then Jay as well, the guy that burned the flag at the Capitol, he had been in my lives
hmm
too. So I saw they were putting this movement on. I'm like, man, I got to get out there. And I went out there a couple of months ago, and of course I got to meet Jolly, and I was, fangirling and all that kind of stuff with Jolly and whatnot. But
hmm
that's really how it was from the Remember Your Oath that they're doing right now.
Well, that's awesome. And you're going to be coming back out here then with us, right?
Yeah, I just booked all my stuff today. I talked to Echo, sending my itinerary. I'm coming back. I'll be back on the 20th. I land in DC about
hmm
11:30. So he's gonna pick me up, and we're gonna be ready to do this thing for another like 5 days or so when I get out there.
Yeah. No, I was kind of bummed that you left when you did because
Yeah,
you weren't there for the Nazi electric biker gang thing, were you?
I
You
was walking up from the parking lot when they were leaving, and I think you had told me about it. I'm like, good Lord, I can't believe I missed the good stuff.
so so for everybody out there, so who's that kid? There's one kid that comes around and he's like he thinks he's a journalist, some right wing influencer journalist, just trying to get your gotcha moments on camera.
That's
And
Frank
you guys have been
Scales. That's his name is Frank Scales.
Frank Scales.
Yeah.
So he comes around quite a bit, right?
Mhm.
Um, so you've been dealing with him, but that electric biker gang, that was a first for you guys?
As far as I know, yeah, because none of that did not happen when I was out there the first time. I was like, "What's happening here?" And we didn't even have a guy like really don't even want to promote him and say his name, but
Yeah.
we didn't even have that going on when I was there. But there was
Mm-hmm.
that guy and the other right wing guy, and I can't think of his name. There's two of them, but that one guy that was there yesterday, he's another one. He's the other guy is the one that Jolly had that incident with where Jolly fell. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep.
the other one. That's the other
Okay.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys have been dealing with that a lot, but like so for everybody listening to this story, if you haven't seen it, and Will Westmoreland did a great video like covering this too, but um there's these like steps. The tents are on kind of the lowest level in front of Union Station there. And then there's these steps heading up towards Union Station, and I don't know, it's 3, 4 steps. They're not very tall. And like we get there, and there's just this line of probably 10 to 15 electric bicycles, like electric dirt bikes, with kids with their helmets and faces covered, and that one little dipshit interviewer kid, right wing interviewer kid, in front of them all. And then they decide, like, we're like, what the fuck are you guys doing? They just stood there for like the longest time, I don't know, trying to be scary on their electric
Yeah.
bikes. And and so they come out, which I'm talking all this shit. Meanwhile, Gunny's been out here because he's not allowed to have a motorcycle out here at Union Station, so he's been riding an electric bicycle around with his big
Yeah.
flag everywhere.
Hey, on that note, not to cut you off, I
Hmm.
met a Marine, Chief Warrant Officer, veteran in the airport flying out of DC. He follows me. He has an Indian Pursuit, which is
Hmm.
basically kind of a similar type Harley like I got, but it's an
Hmm.
Indian. He said if I wanted to, I could borrow it and fly a fuck Trump flag when I'm in DC next time.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
So
So,
I'm probably
okay,
gonna take him up on it.
so here's the thing. For everybody who doesn't know, the 22nd is going to be a huge protest. We're trying to get tractors out there, and DC's being a dick about the permits, like no vehicles in the protest thing. So what we're
Oh man.
thinking about doing is before they close the streets down, if we can get a bunch of people, we can leave the tractors on the trailers. We can have people bring in cattle trailers and tractor trailers, whatever the fuck we want, uh, and driving them around. Just go like full mega trucker convoy around the Capitol with all the signs and stuff on there,
Yeah.
honking horns, blaring music. So yeah, if you could have the bike out there with that too, that
Yep.
would be fucking sweet. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll also, for everybody, we're going to be promoting this a lot, but on the 22nd is that big protest. We've got stuff going on the 20th and 21st. Taylor's even flying out for it. Gunny will be back out here for it. I'll be out here for it. So please get out here. But anyway, so we're standing up there, and there's all these like kids on their electric bicycles trying to look like badasses, and like finally they come down and they just start like riding circles around it, like they watched I don't know, West Side Story or something, and they're just like trying to be all intimidating, and they're like revving up their electric bicycles on the grass and like doing burnouts on the grass, trying to throw like dirt and grass on the tent and the people. Uh, and then they're like sitting out there and like they're telling all these vets that are in this tent. Most of them have done tours overseas and seen combat. And they're like, why are you guys such a bunch of posers? You're acting like posers. And these like fucking 19, 20-year-old kids who clearly not in the military because
Uh-huh.
they're out here riding their electric bicycles around. Uh, it is just wild. And it's like, this is why we think you're losers, guys. This is what you
Yeah.
do with your time. Like you come out here and that's what you think is badass. And we are so I don't know how much of that do you get when you're out like
Here.
doing your stuff? Like you seem to get confronted more than most. And obviously you're being
Yeah.
kind of antagonistic, but
Yeah.
like I've never been confronted in the wild by one of these fuck sticks.
Yeah. So at the first No Kings protest, we had a group of kids on BMX bikes do that exact same thing. Uh, and aside from that, nobody like any really mass group has done anything like that. And then other than that, I just get my normal MAGA responses. But that was the only
Mm-hmm.
time that I could think of where we had, and they were young, and they
Mm-hmm.
were like, "Oh, I'll make all this money on this," and I'm like,
And you're
"Well,
riding
what?"
a BMX bike around?
Yeah, I'm sitting there going, "What?" And so they essentially tried to do the same thing. And here's the
Mm-hmm.
thing: their parents were at the restaurant across the street, and so they kind of had like a little bit of what do you like a little backup at the restaurant across the street there,
Mm-hmm.
and they were watching. So I think that's why they were feeling um, enabled to talk so much shit there. And I kept trying to have a debate with them, and I was like, "What? My question. What are the three branches of government?" And of course, they never want to engage in that. But it didn't
Mm-hmm.
turn anything crazy. But as far as a group, I think there was like 5 or 6 of them, but nothing like that except from that, and that was several months ago. So
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I got and again, I was bummed that you left because like the day after you left, we went down. Somebody mentioned it in the comments there. We went down to the Heritage Foundation with
I was
megaphones.
watching. I was
Hmm.
watching you. I was saying, "Hey, I'm jealous."
No, I did see you in there. Yeah. No,
Okay,
I
good.
was I was so bummed you weren't out there with us because I thought that would have been just absolutely fun. But I had such a blast doing that. Maybe we can find some time to go run around and
Yeah,
harass some of them when you get back
100%.
here.
Hey, was
Um.
the guy that screams the death metal into the microphone? Was he there?
hmm
Yet? Was he there?
No, no, he wasn't
Oh,
there for that. That was
dang.
no, it was just it was Cowboy Hat, Will, and Randy, and me, and then Will Westmoreland on his scooter, just sitting over there to the side, cheering us on, and like FaceTiming and filming and everything.
Yeah.
Um, so what has but you've been doing this now for how long?
Let's see. I guess it's been about 18 months.
18 months.
Yep.
What's been really the most impactful moment you've had? I've been doing this for 4 years, and I've had like a lot of real like meaningful moments that have just gone
Mhm.
like, oh, what I'm doing is important. Like I'm impacting people's lives in a positive way, and I'm making some sort of difference
Mhm.
somehow. And like, what has been your most impactful moment you feel like so far doing this?
I guess it would be first off the amount of response from social media and people flocking. And the biggest thing, and I did a post on this. One of the reasons that I keep doing this is all the positive feedback that I get in my comment section, because there are people out there that feel like they are alone in this thing, and they feel like they don't have a voice, or they're too scared to have a voice, and they say, Gunny, thank you so much for doing what you're doing. I'm a blue dot in a red state, and I'm too
Mm-hmm.
scared to even fly, a pro-democratic sign in my front yard, or an anti-Trump sign in my front yard. So thank you for doing what you do. And then, man, I'm telling you, like the MAGA interactions that you see on my live, or my
Mm-hmm.
Gunny in the Wild, that's 10% of the reaction. The other 90 is people coming up and wanting pictures,
Mm-hmm.
taking videos, and they talk to me and they just thank me in person. So there was not really one big one. It's just a kind of a cumulative thing of people just saying, Gunny, thank you so much for being a voice. We really appreciate that, and we need that, because they love the Jerry Springer shows that I
Mm-hmm.
get from the MAGA interactions when they try to debate. But more importantly, uh, they people out there want to see my content of positive interactions with people, like-minded people like us in the wild.
And so, like, how do you get these? Because this is again when I said like I don't get those types of negative interactions in the wild like you do. And granted, again, I'm not as quite as antagonistic as you do, but like, how are you so good at finding them? Like, because it's got to get difficult to keep enough going where you
Yeah.
have the content consistently.
So I look for things. So I think it's the flag. And what's
Hmm.
interesting, I just had a fuck Trump flag, but then when I switched the fuck Trump flag to fuck Trump, and if you like him, fuck you too, that really
Hmm.
switched things up. And then, so the other thing that I do is I go to, it seems like specific areas around here are or more. I call them like my fishing spots, which is typically Walmart. Um, but like there's specific areas here in Evansville where I go to where I know I can find MAGA. But I'm at the point now. A lot of people will they'll either say something outright, or when they walk by, they just shake their head. And I catch that, and I just say,
Hmm.
"Oh, you don't like my." I turn the camera. I'm like, "Oh, you don't like my flag," and then I get them to engage in conversation. So
Hmm.
you kind of have to be, watch it, or I am watchful for the reaction that I see, so that I can kind of pull them into those conversations. But more times than not, they'll usually, and I'm using their words, "Oh,
Hmm.
you fucking
Hmm.
queer," all that they'll say that kind of stuff. And of course, I'm going to stop then.
Hmm.
Yesterday when I was driving, of course, and everybody's a badass in their car when they're going 15 miles an hour blowing past you, because they're like,
Well,
"Fuck liberals," they say all that. And
it's like the comment section too. Everybody's a
yes,
badass behind a keyboard, but yeah, you
yeah,
step up front and somebody, it's all totally different.
yeah. So that's why the parking lots are good fishing holes for that. But yeah, I just start reading people's reactions, man, and I can tell. And when the lady that was in the Walmart parking lot, she had all these Trump stickers on her black truck, so I just waited there for her. And sure enough, and it's been posting, but man, she's the epitome of a typical Trumper in everything that she said. You have to, like, you have to watch the video, but yeah. So I just keep a watchful eye, man.
Has anything ever like escalated to the point where it got physical?
Nope. No,
No.
probably the most negative impacted thing that I had was when I was at my VA appointment and I had my flag there. An Army veteran cut my flag off my Harley,
Oof.
and they put 3 federal charges on him, and then they kicked him to state, and then the state dropped him just like recently.
And of course they
And
did.
I was like, because the cops that work inside the VA, they stopped me. I thought I was getting in trouble for something because I just got done
Hmm.
making a video walking in the VA, or I thought they were going to say something about my flag, and then they had my flag in their hand. I'm like, oh, they took it off. I'm like, great, and they're like, no, this kid over here cut your flag off. We got it all on video. We need to know if you want to charge us. And I said, absolutely,
Hmm.
I do. And then I have the post of him bragging about it on Facebook. Somebody sent it to me. And so I called him out in the VA a few weeks ago saying, I'm here at the VA, Michael Townsend. You know, come on, see if you can come cut this flag off now, you fucking pussy.
So why'd they drop the charges?
Who knows, man? I haven't even dug into it. And here's the thing: like I've got so much other more like relevant shit to do right now,
Hmm.
like getting out to DC and stuff. I just kind of I didn't write it off, but I'm like it's kind of on the
Back
side
burner.
back burner
Yeah.
for now. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that's something because like what you do and like what Walter Masterson does and a few other people were like
Yeah.
you go out there and you just antagonize. I'm like, man, it takes a big old set of brass balls to put yourself in the middle of that with those fucking sociopaths and just be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm gonna poke the bear a little bit here and see how it goes and do it
Yeah.
over and over and over again.
It's
Granted, I mean
it's
you.
the first time I did it, man, after
Hmm.
that Gunny in the Wild video, and I was like, man, I handled that pretty well because I was
Hmm.
like, you know, because I just laughed the whole time, and I think that's what people like so much is that I don't get mad in my videos. I My
Hmm.
laugh, especially when I pull off, is the thing that I think really pisses them off the most, and the people that are on our team love it. Is that what is when I laugh? So now you know what? I just started asking them simple questions: just take a deep breath, and I'm like, I'm gonna make this funny as fuck, and I'm gonna make them look as stupid as I possibly can.
So with like the evolution of your channel, going from workout and karaoke videos to Gunny Speaks Out to Gunny in the Wild, do you have plans to utilize the platform for something, grow it, evolve it into something else as time goes on? I mean, at a certain point, I'm assuming the novelty of a guy on a
Sure.
motorcycle running around is going to kind of wear off a little bit. And
Yeah.
do you have a plan projection for how
Yes.
you're going to
So there's
continue to
something.
grow this?
Yeah, so something that me and my wife and I had talked about, and I was talking to Matt and Jolly about it. You know, I want to progress my platform, but I want to get to the point where I'm getting in front of people in Congress, getting those types of interviews that they're getting, elevate my platform to stuff like that while keeping the shtick. But
Hmm.
essentially, I would like to get an actual real, like a good podcast, like something that you guys are doing, where people can come, like I can talk to actual
Hmm.
elected officials and things like that. So that's gonna be the next phase, and that'll probably be sometime, probably next year, because and right now I've got a lot of uh, Democratic leftists, whatever people that ride. So the next big thing I'm gonna try to do is get a ride organized with people like me flying fuck truck flags and hopefully like
Hmm.
maybe doing a ride to DC. But yeah, I have plans to like take my message and my platform to a higher level. Yep, 100%.
I love that. Are you going to be, because we're going to be doing some congressional visits here over the next week, especially on, the 20th, 21st.
Yep.
Are you going to be joining us for any of those?
Probably, yeah. So when I was out there the last time, the first time, I went to
Hmm.
Congress and I talked to the staffers and all, and I got some of it on video. So yeah, that's one of the things that I really want to do. I really want to get in with my representatives from Indiana as well. But yeah, that's something that I'll be participating in.
Do you think, especially being in Indiana, where we could use a little bit more reasonable representation, you got any plans on potentially ever running for office?
No, and people tell me all the time, like, man, you should run, you should run. I just don't know that I want to. try to inject myself into what I would call a broken system already,
Hmm.
especially right now. Like it's just so crazy right now. Like maybe something on the local level at some point, but nothing like super high level. Because people miss the boat on how important local
Hmm.
politics is. You know what I mean? They seem to overlook that a good bit. And one of the things that I say is, hey, look, it all starts right where you live, and getting read in on what's happening at your local level, and then allowing your voice to carry from there, up the chain. So yeah, so like I posted, our lieutenant governor had just gotten is getting investigated for an AI porn issue, that he was passing around a video of one of their own people, that somebody made an AI porn video of. His name's Micah Beck, but he's a real piece of shit. And he's also getting investigated for fraud, ghost
Wait,
employment, where they
he passed it around, or he was the one that the porn video was of?
no, so he was passing around a AI porn video of one of his Republican counterparts, that person's wife. He was passing that around in the workspace.
God, you gotta love, who needs enemies when you got friends like that?
Yeah, no shit. And so that just came about probably about 2 weeks ago. So I follow him on Facebook. So now every time he posts something, I did a post earlier about, he had a luncheon with the pastors in I think was it South Carolina, in Greenville, South Carolina. And I was like, yeah, I guess the pastors don't know about your investigation of the AI porn. I was the first one to comment too.
Oh,
So
that's
I'm
perfect.
targeting Micah Beckwith in terms of, challenging him on what he's doing, as well as Mike Braun, our actual governor in Indiana. So that's going to be become a bigger focal point on my platform as well.
Mm. And I want to get back to local politics. I mean, Taylor and I talk about this fairly often, but like school board and city council and mayor, that stuff is arguably what ends up affecting your life the most. Like what happens
Sure.
in Washington, especially right now, we're in a bit of a outlier as far as that goes, and obviously a lot of the stuff happening in Washington is really harming people. But on a day-to-day scale, in a normal, somewhat sane uh, uh, political atmosphere in DC, the shit that they do on a day-to-day basis affects your life this much, and the shit that
Hmm.
happens at city council and school board and zoning meetings and stuff like that,
Hmm.
affects your life this much.
Yep.
And you go to these meetings, and I mean, the people who get on these boards, they win by a handful of votes sometimes. Five,
Yep.
7 votes is all it is. And and there's hundreds of votes sometimes just cast in these. And so like your vote matters the most on these local levels.
Yep.
And it's crazy to me that people are so disengaged, because it's showing up to one meeting can literally change how you're allowed to operate, and how your cities and your towns do things, what your kids will or won't be allowed to learn in school,
Hmm.
how your school is funded, all of those. It's just the difference of if you decided to show up to a meeting or not, and
Right.
people are incredibly disengaged because it's just
What I
not.
think a lot of people don't know, like a lot of people that care about the issues don't even know that you can even do that. Like here's a prime example. And bad on me for not knowing. I had no idea I could just walk into Congress when I did the first time I was in DC, and go try to meet the staffers or the representatives. I had no
Hmm.
clue that I was even allowed to do. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, hey, this is like, you can actually do this if you are in the area, or if you're an interested party on what's going on.
Hmm.
CYA to DC and walk in there and tell them how you feel. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, and they publish the schedule. Like, where all your local officials are at, where you can go. They even
Hmm.
they're publishing when these meetings are happening. You just got to know where to find it. So, and that's what I'm trying to do a better job at. So, here, people in Southern Indiana, especially the people that support me, they publish like when and where all these meetings are happening. You just have to know where to look for it. So that's one of the things I'm working on, is the people that are on our side, that are concerned about things like gerrymandering and all that stuff, and here they want to speak out about these things. They just got to you got to help point them in the right direction on where, when and
Hmm.
where to do it. So that's one of the other things that I'm doing.
No, I'm excited because yeah, I mean people don't know that you can just walk right into your representative, your senator, or your congressman's office
Yeah,
and or not into their office, but you can knock on their door.
yeah,
Um, I know that's what I'm planning to do. Well, I'm here too because my representative Pete Stauber is a piece of shit. I mean, he's not the biggest piece of shit in the sense that he's not really out there doing anything. And
mm,
complacent just sits around and votes like a piece of shit rather than writing legislation and stuff. He just votes against everything and then takes credit for it. And he doesn't hold town halls and stuff like that. It's always playing like hide and seek with him.
yeah.
And he cosplays as he's one of us, rural blue collar Minnesotans out there, and like, bitch, you ain't one of us. And he'll
Yeah.
post on his Facebook, like there would been he posted it must have been a face cord, if that. A half face cord of wood, maybe. He's like, oh, spent all day cutting and splitting wood, for the winter. I'm like, if you spent all day and that's all you got done, you are really bad at this. But what I'm
Yeah.
assuming happened here, Pete, was like everything else, you let other people do the work and then showed up and took credit for it.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm on his Facebook all the time, trolling
Yeah.
him too, and I'm
Yeah.
hoping I get to do it in person. I doubt he'll answer the door for me, but if he's even around, he's probably off with a mistress or something somewhere. But
Yeah. And a lot of them out here, they stopped uh, doing in person, or
hmm
they'll schedule the in person, and then you'll show up there and they're like, oh, it switched to virtual or to nothing at
hmm
all. Because we have a group out here called Evansville Resistance, and there's probably like 1,000 of us out here. And we get good turnouts at like the big protests and stuff. But we constantly try to go in and speak to these people because they say they're going to be there to hear, to listen. And then you get there and they're like, oh, it's not happening no more. And you're like, what the fuck? So
yeah. No, and I mean, and to be fair, this is an issue that I've noticed working with uh politicians in general, is they they cancel or reschedule stuff more often than they actually stick to what's scheduled.
yeah,
It's so like it happens in a normal time, and then obviously when they're getting berated by all the people they're supposed to represent,
yeah.
they seem a lot more willing to stick you up and not actually show up for things. But if you're out there knocking on their doors, I mean, that sends a really powerful message. Even if you don't talk to them, if they know that their constituents are showing up at their office, like that's how pissed off they are. And,
Mm.
it's a lot easier to ignore a phone call or an email or a voicemail than it is to ignore a real human being sitting there rapping onto your door. Hell, maybe I'll get some like notes and I'll just tape them to their door. Maybe I'll be doing
Yeah.
that.
When we went to Congress the first time when I was out there, of course, the Epstein stuff was like really just. I mean, it was in its initial phase of like being big. We had flyers printed, like release the Epstein files, and so we were up there vocalizing our stuff to the
hmm
staffers and whoever. But like we were sneaking flyers in like the magazines, taping them on the bathroom wall and shit like that.
Dude, the creativity of people protesting, because like there's just when you're out here in DC, no matter where you go, there's always one or two people protesting something. Like they'll be doing their little protest of one out wherever, and it's so cool to see. But the creativity they get with it. I saw a group of people the other day walk through Union Station, and they were all carrying file boxes, like they were the Epstein files,
Yeah,
and they were like walking up to Congress with them. And I'm like, man, it's just brilliant. It was a handful, 10, 20 people that were just
yeah,
walking by with all these Epstein files,
yeah.
and yeah, obviously we've got the inflatable frog costumes and
Those
everything
are
out
great.
here. I love them
Portland,
so much.
Portland really launched that shit, man.
hmm
That shit was funny.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? Like, interestingly enough, like I've not been hearing that much about what's going on in Portland anymore.
Well, I think they won in the sense of they were trying to like frame Portland as this war zone and everything like that, and
Yeah,
the media was really pushing that. The Trump administration was really pushing that. Antifa headquarters out there are gonna terrorize and kill everybody, and then all of the footage is just people in these goofy ass inflatable costumes running around taunting ICE, and it's like you can't frame that in any type of like violent or scary way.
nope.
And it's like this is what you're invading an entire city for, is is goofballs in inflatable costumes. Like this is
Yeah,
what you need the military for in the city. Yeah,
yeah.
it's not a good look. It's not a
It's
good look.
embarrassing. It's
I
embarrassing for them.
it's super embarrassing. I loved the one with Christy Nome on top of that building where she was like, "Oh, all these violent Antifa protesters," and they pan over and it's like six dudes in inflatable costumes just sitting out there dancing around.
Yeah, we had some at our last No Kings. We actually had a guy in a Donald Trump inflatable suit too. That was pretty funny. And we had a small counter protest. There was like six people there, and I pulled up next to him playing Fortunate Son, and I was like, can any one of you dumbasses tell me why Trump was playing this at his rallies? And then it was like crickets. So, but
Do
yeah,
any of you dumbasses know what this song's about?
I'm gonna say no. But yeah, we had a great turn. We probably had a couple thousand people, and in Evansville, that's a good turnout for a protest.
No, that's
In front of
awesome.
yeah, at the federal building, so it was huge. And of course, what I do is I'll play my either Fortunate Son or Arrest the President on my
Hmm.
Harley with my flag. My wife was with me, and we just drive up and down, and you can see the videos of me like clapping hands with people because
Hmm.
I'm not like tooting my horn, but when I show up on the Harley, like
Hmm.
shit's getting real because they're like,
You know,
Gunny, get out, just get the crowd pumped up or whatever, and then we go around and
absolutely.
do our thing. So, but yeah,
Hmm.
it's a good time, man. But the inflatable protesters are hilarious. I was gonna get one of those and try to ride with it, but I don't think that I could.
Oh man, if you got the T-Rex one out there on the motorcycle, like that would be
Yeah,
fucking hilarious. Oh, I'd love that so much.
yeah,
Uh,
I don't think you'd be able to see too well on that
yeah. I
thing.
know you're right, but it would be funny.
it would
It would
be.
be
It
funny.
would
It
be.
would be funny.
Uh, no, but speaking about the military occupation of, because that's why the veterans first came out to Union Station here was when Trump issued the National Guard to occupy DC like it's Kandahar or some shit, and then
Yeah,
all those guard members got gardening duty once they got out here because clearly so violent and out of control.
yeah,
But I mean, as a citizen who hasn't served, always been a civilian, it's really disheartening and uncomfortable to see that kind of mobilization of military forces on U.S.
sure,
soil, in
yeah.
U.S. cities. But like as a veteran, as somebody in the military, how do you feel about that? And how would you feel about it if you were currently in the military? Like, what would you say to people who are currently serving and this is what they're getting stuck doing?
Right. So me and uh, some other people had done some content about this, and Marty McFly, and we had did an insurrection act and all that like pop like live on this or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
now I say this as an active duty, or if I were on active duty and Trump called me as an active duty member to deploy on U.S. soil, you would have to court martial me before I opted to do that. You'd have to court
Mm-hmm.
martial me. Now, the National Guard is a little bit different because they can be federally activated under Title 10 and all this kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But my concern is with posse comitatus and all of that. Now we're in a legal battle on whether or not it's legal or not.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, for me, uh, unless I'm doing disaster cleanup or something to that effect, you're going to court martial my ass before I go stand guard in a place that definitely doesn't even need it, especially with a
Mm-hmm.
fucking loaded weapon, expecting
Mm-hmm.
me to put hands on a fellow citizen. That shit ain't going to happen with me. So you'd have to kick me out. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, no, I mean that's what I think that this is kind of like the frustration that a lot of civilians have is the fact that we haven't really seen much of that resistance from service members. And I understand that there is consequences to, disobeying orders.
Sure.
So trying to be empathetic to the fact that like you don't want to throw your life away, and you
Right.
you have a code to follow, but also like we're in a situation where
Bubba.
that kind of thing is needed.
Fine.
So
Hey, Bubba, be
no,
quiet. Sorry.
no, you're good. So yeah, it's interesting to hear from you that that's what you would do, and obviously, it's probably easier to say it from the comfort of your living room after you've
It
been out of the
is.
military for years and everything
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that. But if people are in the military right now considering that, can you talk us through like what are the actual ramifications and is it worth it and how they should go about doing that and handling that to make sure that they face the fewest amount of consequences possible for
Yeah.
doing their civic duty to the Constitution?
Well, first off, so at the Remember Your Oath pin, there's an 800 number where you can call if you have questions about anything that regarding your being a like. If you have any question, if you're in question about any of the orders that we're given, even to the point of even being there, you can call that 800 number and they can fill you in. So I think that's your first best step is to ask that
Uh,
question first.
Taylor, when we post this, can you make sure that that 800 number's up on here and everything too?
Which one is that?
Uh,
I've got it. If you, I can send it to you, Jordan.
all right,
Sure.
yeah, we'll
Yeah,
make sure
Yeah.
that that's up because I think that that's a really important thing to start with.
yeah.
But anyway, so the 800 number.
Yeah, so I would call that number first, ask the questions that you have to ask, and then deem whether or not, okay, what I'm being asked to do considered unlawful. Second being, I don't feel right being here. What are my options to say to let somebody know? Look, like I just don't want to be here, and here is why. um, and then look at it that way. Because I agree. Not everybody can just throw away whatever they're doing, because they might be making it a career or whatever. So you got to
Mm-hmm.
make the best informed decision possible. So I would say that those would be your first. That the first step is to call and find out. And then see, what are my options to exit this? Because as a person, I just don't feel right. I also don't want to disobey a lawful order and then suffer the ramifications of a negative discharge, whether it
Mm-hmm.
be a bad conduct, dishonorable, or something like that. So you got to kind of explore your options. And yeah, you're right. Sitting in the comfort of my own home after not being on active duty right now, but not enough military members are even questioning it.
Mm-hmm.
And that tent is 100 yards away from where National Guard was walking. That was my biggest bitch was
Mm-hmm.
like why I know these people don't want to be here. And here's how I know. The first time that I was out there, I was walking past the National Guard from West Virginia, and there was a mass sergeant out there in the Air Force, and he saw me and he goes, he does one of these numbers. Hey Gunny, I follow you on Instagram. I don't want to fucking be here. And I'm like, what? So I know that they are out there and they don't want
Mm-hmm.
to be there. I just don't think they know of a proper exit strategy to not to get out of that duty per se. And he's
Plus,
got a regular other job, and he's already way up through the ranks. He's already a master sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that they're out there. I just wish more people would at least ask the question or call that number to see the validity of what's being asked of them.
Plus, I think it would be a lot more difficult, especially considering what happened in DC, where you're basically walking around picking up trash all day
Yeah,
versus
yeah,
asking to be deployed to like Chicago or what happened in LA during
Yeah.
the riots. Like those would be much more highly sensitive, I would think, than I mean, the DC is obviously more visually like striking, but they
right.
did probably the least amount of harm in DC as compared to potentially being deployed in Chicago or what
Mm-hmm.
happened in LA.
Right. Did you
Is
see
that
the video though, where the National Guard member put hands on a protest or somebody out there at the
I didn't
Union
know.
Station? Go on USMC Angry Veterans
Hmm.
Instagram. There's a video of them what would violate posse comitatus in that they were participating in law enforcement activity
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
at Union Station. Direct. I
Sure.
mean, it's plain as to see. Jolly and
Hmm.
Matt both posted on it. It's probably from over a week ago, but it's on there, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why that shit pisses me off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and here's something, and I'd love to get your take on this too, because what I've been frustrated at, what Gavin Newsom's doing and what Pritzker's doing and everything, like that's great that they're standing up and trying to be a shield from the federal government, and I appreciate that, but like I don't understand why they haven't activated the National Guard themselves and the state police and make them stop every single person pretending to be some masked federal agent and
Yes.
force them to show their identification, show the warrant or their lawful orders to be there, and if they don't produce it, fucking arrest them, throw them in
Yeah.
jail for impersonating an officer, and even if they are actually federal officers, make their superiors have to come get their ass out and prove who they are. Because
Yeah.
even if it didn't get them out of there, it would gum up the works so much about what they're doing that it would make it really ineffective. If every single time ICE shows up to do a raid or something, National Guard rolls in and is like, hold up, like we need to make sure that you're here legally and all of that
Mhm.
shit. Like every time that there's a protest going on and they are, confronting protesters or all of that, like if the National Guard came out with protesters and confronted every federal agent that was there and made sure like it would fuck their system up so bad, and they haven't
Yeah.
done that. I was kind of curious like what your thoughts are on that.
No, I agree 100%. It would take a large number of people doing that across multiple areas. I think that to make that
Hmm.
super effective. Here's one of the reasons why I don't think that it is happening is because I think that would probably give Trump the leverage to start martial law. Because the way I would envision that going, it would be a what I would call a fucking shit show, and that
Hmm.
would set off another chain reaction of X, Y, and Z in a negative way. That's why, like, I think people agree with us that that's what should be done. I just think they're scared to escalate that to a level. Then Trump gets what he wants, and then
Hmm.
and acts because that's exactly what he's doing this to get used to us seeing troops on the ground because I think the elections are coming up for one, but two, he's hoping that it'll trigger a response where he can enact martial law. And then the first thing that would do it, he would love is if the National Guard and local police would counter uh, against ICE. I think that would
Hmm.
be the straw that broke the camel's back to make that happen. So while I agree that that's what we should do, I think that they aren't is because of the end result of that. So that's just my opinion. But I
I
No,
think
no,
agree
that
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 that pretty
there needs to
much
be somebody need to take a
echoes.
stand. Say
I
again.
think that pretty much echoes what JB Pritzker said about why
Yeah.
he didn't want to do that. But I agree with Jordan. Like there should be make a state law that says federal officers must carry identification and have that present in order
hmm
to operate within our state, and then
Sure.
you know patrol around. And if you see, supposedly ICE officers force them to present identification at a minimum. Pulling them over and maybe not arresting them, but detaining them for the moment, right? Like,
Yeah.
hmm
I don't see why that is not a unreasonable ask.
Yeah. Do you think that a lot of these masked so-called ICE agents are actually employed as ICE agents? I think there's a group of them that are, and I'm not trying to be a conspiracy
hmm
theorist, but I think a lot of these guys were probably J6ers of some sort that saw this payout. They didn't get no training and they rogered up to do it. And that's why they're running around in these masks because they're not actually legit employees. I could be wrong, but it
No,
seems like they're getting away with a whole lot and
yeah, I
not seeing
mean,
any.
we know for a fact that people have been caught impersonating law enforcement since this has happened, right?
Uh-huh.
And when you just look at any of these groups of, people who look like they just crawled out of their mom's basement to come out here and do this,
Uh-huh.
like the uniforms aren't uniform. Like
Right.
they're wearing all kinds of different shit. There's nothing consistent about that.
Yep.
Nothing looks government or standard issue across the board. The weaponry isn't uniform that they have out there. Uh, they again, all of them are covering their faces. All of them are not providing identification about who they are.
Uh-huh.
And being from Minnesota, we are incredibly sensitive to this because a man impersonating a police officer showed up and assassinated one of our state representatives, shot another one, had a whole hit
Yep.
list on it of Democratic reps.
Yep.
And that's what he was doing. He was driving around in a cop car, a used cop car that he got from auction that he had for some failed security company he had. He had all the uniform stuff, and he was just going around knocking on their door,
Yep.
killing people. And it's like that's when you've got these people, and that's the other thing. Like all these federal agents are driving around in regular civilian vehicles. These aren't, it's not Ford Tauruses or Ford Explorers that are like the
Yeah.
new ones that cops use. It's
Yeah.
not like new Suburbans or
Right.
Yukons or anything like that. It's just like old fucking 20-year-old cars they're running around with regular civilian plates and everything on it. Like this isn't
That's
that's
what
not how that
me and Jolly would we on the first time I was out there, we went what we call ice fishing because he found out where all the hot spots were. They would hide their cars in the alleys, the same cars that you're talking about and describing, out of state plates,
hmm
very very nondescript, hiding in the alleyways, and then he would find him and then get them on video, and of course, and then he would expose them, and then he would post that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think he's been doing a whole lot of that now, but I know that was one of the things that we had started doing. And even when I called out those people a couple days ago when me and Echo were out there, I got it on video. These guys were harassing this black man in this Escalade, and there was like 7 people armed to the teeth. And I ran out in the middle of the street, and they were driving some piece of shit SUV and like a blue Dodge Charger or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked out there in the middle of the street, and I started talking to the guy in the SUV. I'm like, "What are you guys doing? Like, are you guys out trying to disappear innocent people off the streets?" No, and you can listen, you can hear him talking.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "No, we're out here doing crime suppression." I'm like, "Why does it take all of you people doing like armed the way you are to talk to one guy that the DC police had
Mm-hmm.
already been talking to? Like, why are you guys even here?" They were with DHS. I'm like, what are you guys fucking doing?
Department of Homeland
So
Security has nothing to do with crime suppression on city
no,
streets. Like, that's not what they're there
no,
for.
no, they don't. Well,
It's
there was one
national
cop car,
security.
two,
It's national
yeah,
security.
two
That guy.
DC cops, and then those 2 cars. Then some people dressed in military uniforms, all on the back. You can watch the video, man. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
what the fuck? But I called them out right in the
No,
middle of
I
the
mean,
street.
they need to be called out. They need to be,
Yeah,
and this is the thing is, it needs to be that consistent pressure, and they need to be publicly shamed and everything like that. I mean, that's why what we were doing down at Heritage Foundation, it's
yep,
like if you don't feel like you can go out in public without just being ridiculed and mocked and shamed, it's going to make it hard. That kills morale for what you're doing,
sure,
and I mean, we've been hearing it from ICE officers and everything, how they just, oh, nobody wants to invite me to the barbecues anymore, and nobody likes me, and I don't have any friends, and everybody's so mean to me, and all I
yeah,
wanted to do was just abuse brown people,
yep,
and like, why is that so bad? And like, so I think it's really, really good that we're doing this kind of stuff, and I encourage absolutely everybody to participate in that in some way possible. Obviously, keep yourself safe. Don't put yourself
sure,
in unnecessary danger. But you can say whatever the fuck you want to law enforcement and government officials. Like, that is your First Amendment right. And as long as we still have this semblance of a constitution, despite the fact that Trump is cleaning out his diaper every day with it, you can be doing that, and you need to do it while we can, because at a certain point we may not be allowed to, and it'll be too late. So we need to be out here, and this is why we're doing this protest on the 22nd, the 20th through the 22nd, um, because we need to go directly to the people who are making these decisions and allowing this to happen, and show them that, we'll come tell them to fuck off right to their fucking faces, and we'll do it with the most colorful language we possibly can. And we're going to make them feel bad about what they're doing, because it hurts more. It's one thing when you see comments online and stuff like that, but when somebody talks about how much of a dickless shit stain you are in person to your face, it stings a little bit more,
yeah,
And so that's what we need to be doing. And I encourage absolutely everybody to come out here on the 22nd for the big march. And if you can be out here before, we're going to be doing lots of things. We're going to be bringing, and this is the other really important thing, because like Gunny's story is powerful about how he went from being a conservative to learning that, oh, being a hateful prick is just, it's draining on me in my own life. And you can be a masculine, toxic masculinity man that they like try to frame themselves as. You're a guy who works out, got big arms, served in the military, rides a Harley, and hey, you can have a little bit of empathy and be all of those things, and that actually makes you a man. That makes you,
yeah,
because it's beta cuck shit to be out here trying to put other people down because they're trans or they're brown or they don't fit their definition of what masculine is.
sure,
So these stories are powerful, and how you're being affected by the fact that all of these cuts are hurting veterans, they're hurting farmers, obviously, why Will and I are out here. They're hurting kids, and that's another personal story we're going to be bringing out, is we got a bunch of disabled kids with complex medical needs. One of the stories we've already heard is one family has an autistic child who is severely, severely autistic, and putting him in the car, he needs to be sedated to put him in the car, or he will kick out the windows. Like, it's rough. So He has teledoctors, right? They have that service where they can get on a Zoom call like this, and they can uh, treat him remotely to reduce the amount of times that he has to be sedated to actually come in to like get in-person treatment. And they lost that now already because of these cuts. This isn't like something they're going to lose. It is lost, and they don't have this anymore. And that's a child and an entire family that is suffering because of this. And that is a powerful story. And
Yeah.
me telling that story means a lot less than those people up there telling that story. And every one of us who has a story like that, every person who's lost the family farm because of this, every person whose veterans benefits have been cut, every child who won't get the care that they need, putting those in front of our representatives and say, these are the people you are here to represent. These are the people whose lives your decisions affect. These are the people who could die because of decisions you make, and you need to look them in the eye. And that way, when you go to vote and you vote to take away the life-saving care that they need or the life-saving support that they need to make sure that they get through the day, you need to know, you need to have that face behind that. So it's not just a number, not just a statistic. And everybody showing up for that, to stand behind these people and to help share their own stories and to go make these points is going to be powerful. So we need as many people out here on the 22nd for sure, but the 20th through the 22nd, if you can be here for that. It's really, really important. Um, and I think with that, we can kind of wrap up. I want to leave you with anything else you have to say there, Gunny, and
No.
you can do all the shameless self-promotion you want here. Where
Oh
can
no.
people find you? No, 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 no. I want you to, because your
Oh,
message is
okay.
important, and I want people to hear it. So as much shameless
Oh.
self-promotion as you want, where they can find you, projects you're working on, things you want people to support, donate to, whatever the hell it is.
Mhm.
Please do that, and include Flair and Remember Your Oath out there, because I know they're
Yep.
struggling. They've been out here. You can tell them how long they've been out here and what they've been doing and why they need their support too.
Yeah, so hey, I am Gunny Speaks Out. I am on pretty much every social media platform that's out there, including Substack, but primarily TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. So everything is Gunny Speaks Out. I've been helping support Remember Your Oath, which is the veterans tent outside of Union Station. Please make sure if you can help those guys out in any way by either donating or getting out there and just being a part of the movement out there specifically. Also, get to DC like Jordan was talking about. I'm going to be back out there on the 20. Actually, I'll be there out there on the 20th through the 24th. That's going to be imperative that we can get as much support and as many people as out there as possible on the 22nd. Do stay tuned for more Gunny in the Wild on Gunny Speaks Out. I ride through the winter, so I'm gonna still be out there in the streets doing what I do. My links to my fourth wall merch shop, all the pay links and donation stuff are in all the links in all of my bios. If you can support, please do so. If not, do not go out of your way to do it, because I know everybody's struggling right now, but that's only if you can. But most importantly, just continue watching my content, sharing the content, commenting, and triggering the MAGA in there. And as always, I love and appreciate all of you people for all the support for the 18 months that I've been doing that, and just expect more. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you along for the
Yeah,
ride and
man.
to be on your ride with you, literally and
Yeah,
figuratively.
yeah, no kidding.
Well, as always, everybody, we appreciate you for giving us these opportunities. Like I said, I'm out in DC. Taylor's coming out to DC for it. We're doing this because of the platform you guys have given us, and that's huge. I can't tell you how humbled and thankful I am to be able to do this and be a voice for people who don't have one. And I'm just honored that so many of you have entrusted us to be that voice and give us these opportunities. And so I don't know how to say thank you enough, but I'm going to keep saying thank you for being here. And I really hope that I get to see a ton of you out here on the 22nd. And again, if you want to support, just watching and sharing is definitely a great way to support. If you can support financially, all the links are in the bios of all of our social media there. You can also get merch at offjawagon.com, both for the podcast and for my personal channel. And please, if you follow me on TikTok, go follow me everywhere else. My account's been banned twice now in the past couple weeks, and thankfully I've gotten it back both times. But every morning now I wake up and I'm just, it's I've lost sleep over it. It's my biggest platform, and if I lose that, I lose a lot of the power I have to do this work.
Yeah,
So please go make my other platforms rival that in size, because it's been amazing. You guys have been helping me grow. Facebook's up over 100,000 followers now, which is huge. I'd like to get Instagram and YouTube up there too. But I appreciate the hell out of every single one of you, and And we love you, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully we'll see you next week in person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to give a quick shout out to all of our YouTube members and Patreon supporters. Really appreciate you guys pitching in monthly. And shout out to Glenda K on the live for supporting us there as well. So definitely appreciate everything you guys do.
All right. Well, we'll see you on the 22nd, guys, and we'll see you here next week for next week's episode.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thank you for being here, Gunny.
Yep.